It's definitely good to be back. And welcome back, everybody, to another season here on the Veteran Influencer Podcast. Once again, your boy, Chris Levine. And today, just like as always, in the first two seasons, we got a special guest today. And I'm very, extremely appreciative to have on this podcast. And her name is Hunter Pace, First Lieutenant Hunter Pace. And she's in the Air Force. You know, don't judge her. You know, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You know, hold on. I think I got a button for that. I am totally joking. This is not a make fun of Air Force podcast. I promise. I love all you guys. I'm non-biased. So I just want to say thank you. I do appreciate you. Are officially the first guest on season 3 of the Veteran Influencers podcast. So, you know.
Wow. An honor. Thank you.
Hey. All right. Well, I want to start from the beginning, you know, because I think it's very important to kind of see like where somebody has come, you know, looking at where you are now as a first lieutenant in the Air Force. And I think it's very important to kind of like to help capture where people have come from to see their entire journey. So I want to know what it was like growing up as baby Hunter. And, you know what I'm saying? I want to know where you were born and what it was like, you know, growing up.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm the daughter of 2 active duty enlisted Air Force members. My mom, the last thing I remember her doing was medical transcription. And then she got out, I want to say maybe 2 years after I was born. She just got busy being a stay-at-home mom, which full-time job all the time, right?
Right.
And then my dad, the last thing I remember him doing was Chief of Medical Enlisted Forces. So he was up at the Pentagon working under the IG. He basically just went around to all of the bases and showed face at med groups and just made sure that, you know, they were functioning properly. They had everything they needed. And he actually just retired, I want to say like 2 years ago. So he did 31 years enlisted. Yes. So
I don't know about all that one.
So he wanted to do 30, and then COVID happened, and they were like, "Hey, Chief,
for that year, bro,
how the hell did you stay here for a little bit?" So he is tired, but he is now working a GS job, so it is government all the way for us, I guess.
Right.
But you know, they were originally from Michigan and Minnesota, and then met down at lovely Shaw Air Force Base, South Carolina. And that's where I came into the picture. So I'm a little, you know, South Carolina beach bum. And then from there, we went to Scott Air Force Base, and we were there for 7 years. And then we hit Lakenheath, Wright Pat, Ramstein. I finished high school at Ramstein, which was a blessing.
Wait, hold on! Don't go too far yet.
Okay.
We're gonna bring it back around right there, but. So what is it like? Because you said that both of your parents were actually active duty Air Force. What was it like? Is it like the same typical type stereotypes that you hear about being in a, what do they call it, the military brat?
It's so many. They're true. They're stereotypes for a reason. Absolutely, for sure. If anybody asks me where I'm from, I have no idea what you want from me. So, there's that. And it was always, if you do something stupid, you know, Dad's gonna get in trouble at work, so you better keep it straight. And then my mom is meticulous to a T. Details. Had a hospital corner my bed like that. Yeah. Did I? No, but did she want it? Absolutely.
I used to hide my toys. They didn't find them.
Never.
Oh, that's absolutely hilarious because, like, you know, I actually grew up, my dad was in the military, my uncle was in the military, and I believe me, I definitely understand what it was like because my dad was on my butt 24/7. And, you know, I think a lot of times as kids, we don't appreciate it as much until you grow up and you realize that you're a little different than those that didn't have all that extra attention, you know? So I'm definitely appreciative of it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the majority of the time when I was going through it, I hated it. And now as an adult, the perspective that I have, I'm very thankful for.
No, absolutely. So, you know, we kind of went over like where you grew up, where your parents met, and what it was like kind of like at a young age. But so like what helped you to get through, you know, the early stages of your life? Like, did you have like certain hobbies that you did? Did you play sports throughout school?
Kind of. So my early years, actually, my parents immediately threw me into martial arts for a couple of different reasons.
At what age?
I started at 5. I was working with, thankfully, another veteran. His name was Steven, but he went by JD, which was juvenile delinquent.
Interesting.
And so he was a veteran of the Vietnam War and had basically found a little bit of solace coming home in. He did a martial art that was a combination of Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, nice.
So and he was incredibly influential in my life, and they kind of threw me in there for discipline purposes. And I was not a kid that was very good at communicating, so I communicated a lot with fighting. So they were like,
sometimes you gotta put hands on somebody,
They were like, we need to put her somewhere. So they threw me in with him, and basically every day I was in there, he was like, you know what, girls can't fight, prove me otherwise. And that was my kind of strongest factor of, all right, see what I can do.
I got this.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So what was that martial arts called that you did? Was it just his own like mix, or?
He called it just Aikido Jiu-Jitsu.
Aikido Jiu-Jitsu. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did that until we left Scott. So I think I was probably in 3rd grade, whatever age that is. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was your early on experience with, because I know you were talking about before how you're still doing jiu-jitsu, but so you got started at 5, and you know what's crazy is, so when I was growing up, that wasn't common.
Really?
I don't think martial arts really blew up until the UFC really hit. But it was really more so after the UFC became commercialized, because I don't know how much and not to put you on the spot, but I don't know how much like the history of UFC, but UFC used to be pay-per-view, and it used to be on a channel that you had to actually order. It wasn't like common TV.
Right.
So a lot of people didn't really know about UFC because it was usually like, unless your parents specifically were into it, you had to like order that channel on cable.
Right. And my parents were not.
Yeah. So I don't think MMA really blew up until it started to push its way, because they used to sell the DVDs and everything, but until like after they started getting to the common channel. So so I don't think a lot of people really were into that when I was a kid. A lot of it was just like karate and not really MMA. But so that, I think it's a little bit more common now, right? So like you being 5 years old doing MMA, that was probably like normal, right?
Yeah, for me it was. So yeah, it was definitely something that I needed. I would be a different person without it.
And why is that? Is it specifically because you learned a lot from it, or is it like specific, like, this is my thing, just leave me alone, I'm gonna do this?
I think it was a combination of things. So after I was in it for a while, my dad actually got into it with me.
Really?
And yeah, thankfully he my dad really loves Highlander, so anything that is related to that, he's vibing with. So he got into it, and he built a really strong bond with all the coaches and whatnot too. So it was kind of a thing that my dad and I could do together. And I'm a daddy's girl all the way, so it was something that I very much enjoyed doing. And then the discipline that you get behind it, and I like to say that I am a little neurotic with some things, so I was very like, let's learn, let's do this. I don't remember most of the stuff because, like I said, I was 5 years old, but it's the way to carry yourself that I kept with me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, there's definitely like, it's crazy because the thing about like, especially like jujitsu, like specifically, there's so many lessons, like life lessons taught through jujitsu, and like there's something that you have to actually experience. It's not something you can just tell them. Like, for instance, one of the things that they teach you in jiu-jitsu is to remain calm no matter what position you're in. And there's certain positions that normally, like whenever, you start out, you're probably uncomfortable with. Mm-hmm. Like if somebody's like, your breathing is being like hindered somehow, a lot of people tend to freak out, but jiu-jitsu actually teaches you to relax through like situations where you're actually uncomfortable. And and it doesn't have to be physically uncomfortable. It could be like stage fright or stuff like that. I learned to master a lot of the, I don't want to say master because, you know, I ain't a pro speaker. I mean, you can hear my voice, but I learned to like, you know, become better in certain areas once I actually, you know, took on martial arts for myself as well. So I can imagine that you probably did the same exact thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I like the fact that there's so many more like avenues for, you know, martial artists to actually compete nowadays. Like, so I do like martial arts with within the Marine Corps. Does the Air Force have something like that as well?
I don't know if the active duty Air Force is. I know when I was in school, we had to do like combatives classes, but a lot of the stuff that was taught was just to pass a class. So it was like if I tried some of that stuff now, I know for a fact it would not work.
Not practical?
No, not at all.
So not to keep going on too hard on the martial arts part, but like, be honest, y'all did some stuff like this in boot camp or not?
Yeah, so I did my commissioning through the Air Force Academy. So all of my formal like boot camp training were classes and like weekend trainings and things like that. The closest I got was I did a summer down at Lackland to train with enlisted folks. I did a summer as like an MTI shadow basically, and I got to see the way they did it. And all of the Air Force Academy class structures are based off of that same kind of thing.
Okay. That's yeah, because we in recruit training for us, and you know, I'm pretty sure it didn't really drastically change because, you know, we do tan belt training, which is our initial. So as a recruit, you start off with a web belt. Like you don't even have a martial arts belt yet. And then throughout the time of recruit training, you earn your tan belt.
Okay.
Which is the first belt that we actually do. Yeah, and there's definitely some violence and some physical nature that goes along with it. Some uncomfortableness and soreness the next day, but I think it's kind of cool that we do that, and you know, we actually present them with their belt, like with a ceremony and all that stuff, and they definitely earn it. I don't care what nobody says.
Right.
The recruits definitely earn it. And I think that's a good starting point to kind of teach about the martial arts program.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It absolutely is, and you know, we could talk about the follow-on stuff some other time. But like, as far as, so you talked about kind of growing up and, you know, martial arts being like kind of like the thing that helped you to get by. Did you have any other sports, or like, is it just like fight or nothing?
Actually, yeah. So when I moved away from Scott, we went to England for a little while, and Europe didn't have a great martial arts scene at the time, because I mean the US really didn't either.
Right.
And so I got really heavily into soccer, and I kept with soccer up until like right before I went to college, actually. And because I was overseas for 2 tours, I got to work with, you know, some UK teams, plus the on base teams, plus my school teams, plus some German club teams. So I've seen an eclectic mix of styles. I've been really fortunate for that too. So.
How far did you make it in soccer? And like, so did you pick up soccer just because it's big out there, or did you actually have like a desire to try to like, you know, be a soccer player and to like, you know, get further along?
I think I started it as something to do, because I really started it getting heavily into it when we moved to Wright Pat. And I mean, you either played soccer or you played football, and I was only doing one of those. So I know I don't look it, but I am a very small human, so it was not feasible. So I got into soccer there, and then it was so big over in Germany that I just had plenty of opportunities to do it, and I had amazing coaches. I had a Colombian coach and an Italian coach, and their love of the game was just infectious.
Nice. So how far were you able to go? Like, as far as, did you like, see, I don't know what the levels are overseas. Right. Like, and so you weren't on the base. This was like at your school over there?
Yeah, this was at my school. I did really well. We did a European championship, which is, it's called Euros, and every year at the end of the school year, a bunch of base teams come in. So we had people from Belgium, we had people from Italy, we had people from Turkey. Just a bunch of bases around would come to Ramstein because it's the biggest hub, and I did well to the point where in my last game against our competitors, I scored the only goal. So it was kind of a big deal. Was it an accident? Maybe. But nobody knew that.
About it. Did it go in?
It went in. It went in.
That's all that matters.
Yep. And then when I went to college, I didn't have any chances to go back stateside to get recruited and things like that. We just really couldn't afford to send me over there, and I didn't really have anywhere to go to. So I wasn't recruited for college. And then we had like our intramurals during basic training right before the school year starts. And those girls were something else. So I got into rock climbing, actually.
Nice.
Because I was in Colorado, and we had a lot of opportunities for that. And basically my whole college career was focused on rock climbing.
Yeah, there's all type of rocks in Colorado.
So many.
Man, that's. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Mic is a little sensitive. It's like you touch it and it just click.
Yeah, same.
No, that's great because I played soccer like when I was extremely young, but I played in Bermuda. I don't know if you ever heard of Bermuda, the island, but they're really big on soccer out there. Soccer and cricket are like the two biggest sports, and like probably not a sport that I would ever start if I was out here. But I was there. I was young, and it was a great opportunity. What's that?
Opportunistic for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm glad I did it because I got a couple trophies doing that, but that's really big for them, like over there. So, and that was just what a great experience it was to live out there and be around a big diverse group of people, and just like the language, like the accents were crazy. And anyways, I'm kind of drifting off on that one, but no, I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that as well. And the fact that you were able to succeed in martial arts and in soccer, I mean, it seems like you might be just an athlete.
Well, I had to, I wasn't that smart, so I had to pick up something.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do around here,
I'll take what I can get.
I mean, you made it through the academy. I mean, that's gotta say something, right?
It says that I'm a hard worker. Is what it says.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know people at the academy, so I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't even do. I'm just saying.
Give that degree back. We don't want you to have that.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like a great childhood. The fact that obviously your parents were both in the Air Force. Was there ever a time where they split to where like one went to one duty station and you had to go live with one of them while the other one was somewhere else?
No, thankfully, my mom was out by the time that we left Shaw. So her whole focus was I'm going to make sure that the kids are good at home and my dad has the support system that he needs, because I mean all of the ridiculous stuff that spouses have to do to show face for people trying to make rank and things like that. The best day in my mom's life was when my dad made chief, because there's no E10, so she was done.
Yeah, you ain't got to impress nobody. Just
yep.
Coast it out. Yep. Just don't get in trouble.
Yep, exactly.
Oh man, that's awesome. So, I would say so. Okay, so we talked about martial arts being one of your hobbies. You talked about soccer and traveling, and kind of the experience that you had with having parents being in the military. So, I think a lot of people kind of get mixed ideas, like, hey, should I join or should I not? Whenever they have military parents, because I'm gonna be honest. I didn't plan on joining.
Yep.
My dad was off the chain. Like, I love you, Dad. Yeah. but my dad was off the meat rack. Like he kind of made me say, yeah, if I do join, I probably won't join the Marine Corps.
Right.
And I actually went to, I considered doing the Air Force and Navy and then an Army before I did the Marine Corps, because and no offense to my dad now, because I see the bigger picture, but I was like, man, my dad is rough around the edges. I don't want to like maybe turn out like that. And and it's not to say, because like I said, me as an adult, I could look back and it wasn't like how I thought it was.
Right.
I definitely needed some work as a kid.
I completely understand.
Yeah, yep. I needed the discipline. All right, I admitted it. But no, it's like I just had that image. My dad was tough.
Mm-hmm.
He was strict. He was on it too. But like, one thing I admire about my dad so much is like he never let up. Ever. Right. There was no freebies. It wasn't, all right, cool, I let this slide. When nothing sliding with him,
I completely understand that. Yeah, slide the back of my hand. That's what
and I feel because of that, I was like, I really had to think. I was like, do I really want to be in the military?
Mm-hmm.
And I went to go see the Navy and they weren't there. I went to go see the Air Force, and I'm dead serious, and it sounds crazy. Like, I had an appointment and everything. They didn't show up. Oh, they'll be back after chow. Of course, I'm leaving. Marine goes, hey, where are you going? I was like, I'm going home. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, how you gonna tell me I'm going home? He's like, come here, let me talk to you for a second. I was like, yo, who is this dude telling me?
He sniped you.
Hey, yeah. He's like, let me talk to you. He's like, hey, what's going? Bam, and he got me. So classic. I didn't plan on doing it. And I kind of had an off mindset about wanting to do it, but what went into your thought process about whether you were going to decide to join the military?
Military life was literally all I knew. I knew nothing else. My mom's extended family was all, actually her immediate family was all Army. Okay. So we had generations of exposure all the time. And we were so part of my parents' career and life that it was, I was indoctrinated from birth. So it was less about a decision whether or not I wanted to be in the military and more about, did I want to enlist? Did I want to be an officer? What branch did I want to do? That was a little bit harder decision for me because, frankly, my parents did very well. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can do that. Maybe I'll go elsewhere. And I thought about the Navy and I was like, I can't swim. So none of that.
No.
Threw that one out. And then I thought about the Marines. And I honestly had zero exposure to anything Marine Corps. So I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with that one, but it feels cool. And then I know
that's a sour face.
I'm so sorry. And then I got a scholarship to go be an Army psychologist, and that sounds kind of scary to me. But and ultimately I applied to the academy. Didn't know shit about the academy. Right. But I asked my parents, I was like, should I enlist? They seem to have cooler jobs. And they were like, well, think about the extended life you want to have. And I was like, all right, well, I do enjoy money. That is a factor.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'll go and try this college thing. So I applied to the academy. I applied to a couple other places under like ROTC scholarships, but
right.
My dad worked with a couple of academy grads and he pushed for that a little bit, knowing essentially nothing about it. So I blindly jumped into that one. But I got accepted and just kind of went for it. So,
first try?
First try, yeah. It was a little bit complicated because the admissions process, you have to have like a congressman, and I didn't have like a state residency that I was a part of. So I had to apply for like the vice presidential or the presidential something. So I actually, crazy enough, I was in Germany waiting for the whole like packet process to come back. Like you have like your portal that's like, you did it. But I got a call and it was, 8 hours ahead of DC or whatever it was. And it was from the president. It was from President Obama. And he was like, hey, here's
he FaceTimed you?
No, it was a call.
Oh.
But he was like, hey, here's your appointment. It's on me. And I was like, holy shit.
Did you record his voice? Like,
no,
I want to talk to Hunter.
I seriously had one of the like, you have to pay for your minutes phone. Like, I didn't have a smartphone. I had, like, seriously, I had to pay in euro on a German phone. And my parents were like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Go to sleep. So
Wow. You
yeah.
still got that phone?
No. Trash all around.
I wish I would have kept one of my original Nokia phones, just to show like these kids these days. Oh, you don't like your new iPhone? Look at this. Look at this thing. You know.
Look at it.
Oh, you have games on your phone? Let me show you what Snake is. That Tetris. All right.
Look at my high score.
Yeah. Oh, that is. I can't believe. Like, I don't know, man. Like I love listening. Like, I know that sounds weird, but I love listening to President Obama speak. He just always has that weird long pause that I want to talk to Hunter Pace. I heard she's trying to apply for the academy.
Like, I know he was thinking about it. I felt comforted.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is a great. That's awesome, man. I didn't realize that, honestly. So I worked at with the ROTC at Arizona State University. So I kind of had an idea about, like, the different avenues in which you can commission into the, become an officer. But I didn't realize all the steps that it went to be in the academy. Because, I mean, obviously I didn't work at the academy. I worked at, the university. But
right.
No, that's a huge deal.
It's I wholeheartedly believe that the candidate process is designed to be tedious and annoying, so that anybody who is not ready to do things like that is like, you know what, I'm out already. So it's a good weeding process.
I think that's how it is as well with either like enlisted to officer, going from E to O. You guys have an E to O program as well, right?
We do, yes.
Okay, so like I did that because I applied for warrant officer back in like 2015, and it was, you had to put a little bit of work in there to do it. I was like, what do you mean another shit? Oh my God, how much paper do I gotta do? No, I do believe that too, because I was thinking that too. I was like, I know exactly why they're doing this, because all the people that are getting frustrated, they want to say, man, I don't want to do this anyways.
Exactly, they're counting on it.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So we kind of talked about you were kind of explaining what kind of helped to, push you toward, joining the military. And you kind of hit on a little bit as far as I was going to ask you about what made you want to join officer versus enlisted. And listen, I used to ask, so I used to go to like the ROTC meets, and I would do like uniform inspections, because I was the assistant Marine officer instructor at ASU. So we would go to different high schools, and we would go talk to the JROTC, and they would do like the uniform inspection. They wanted me to like yell at them, all that good stuff. Right. And one of the questions that I would ask is like, what made you want to decide to go officer versus enlisted? And like some of the answers were like, we're fighting, put your hands up. I'm like, you really think that about enlisted people? But some of them just don't really know like what all things are. You hear things. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was a little bit of an eye-opening experience for me too, because a lot of the kids that get accepted to the academy are kids whose parents and grandparents and great-grandparents are also academy grads, so they only know officers. And I mean, being an enlisted kid, like, I went to school with some officer kids, and I was like, you know what, fuck them kids. Like, they're rude, they're entitled, I don't like it. And that's not untrue for a lot of the kids that were there. And I know for a fact that if I, started becoming that, my parents would hop in that and fix it pretty quick. So my roots, but I think a big part of it is, my parents wanted me to go to college. They wanted me to be college educated. And I was like, you know what? I'm pretty good at school, so I might as well just keep going with it. Plus, I hear it's good to have a degree or something like that. So something like that. So, and a lot of the extracurriculars of the academy looked cool. So I was a little bit more drawn into the opportunities. If I had gone to just like a regular college, I don't think I would have liked it as much, because it's not as like,
not as structured. It's not as interactive. It's not as nuts. And I think I would have not had as good of a time. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, how would you, so I actually just recently, I would say, when did she graduate? I don't even think it was a year. I don't even think it was a year ago. So I actually had a Marine corporal that I had in one of my courses. She actually, at Sergeant, she actually transitioned over and she went to the academy. She went from Marine to Navy. She's a naval officer right now.
Wow.
And she was kind of telling me a little bit about her experience, but there are other people that are considering doing that. So how would you describe your experience while you were there? And then do you recommend it to other people?
I think it really depends on what you're looking for. So I had a fantastic experience because the only thing I had ever heard was that, they're going to mess with me. It's going to be a shit show, but you're there to have a good time. And I think people that struggle a lot of the time are people who are recruited as athletes because they kind of lie to you to get you to go there. They're like, you don't have to do any of the military stuff. You're here to play your sport. And then, nope.
Nope.
Yeah, you're one of us. And then a lot of the time we get prior enlisted people who come in and they have, been adults for a while. And when you get there, you're just kind of surrounded by a bunch of dumb kids sometimes. And that wears on you. So the experience of, seeing what, actual operational active duty looks like and coming here or coming to the academy and bringing that experience is useful, but it's also, it's a burden a lot of the time. I can't imagine interacting with some kids who don't know what an EPR is or how to ride a bullet or how to tie their damn shoes, it's got to be hard. And then, you get a couple of kids there who the academics are really hard and they're just not used to it. I know for a while, I kind of cruised through high school. So I got there and I was like, oh, this shit's hard. I was on
study.
I don't like this at all. And I am not happy, doing math. And that is predominantly what that school is. So I was on academic probation for a while. But if you don't take from the experience of kind of getting kicked in the teeth and learn from that, you're not going to do well. If you do and you harness that and you say, wow, I really messed up, but I can get back on track, then you succeed.
Yeah, because I've heard definitely some mixed stories. I actually had a Navy lieutenant. He played rugby or lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
He was lacrosse at the academy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude he's built like a truck. Dude is an absolute beast. He's like, yeah, they sent me here to play this sport, and that's the majority of what he did. I'm not saying he got hooked up to do anything, but I'm just saying obviously he's smart as well too, but to get recruited to play a sport, that's like a dream come true to me. Get me recruited, recruit me.
It is a lavish deal, but you also spend so much time down practicing your sport that the rest of the stuff still has to happen. You still have to be militarily proficient. You still have to succeed in all your classes. So on top of being exhausted, training at altitude for a couple hours a day, and then all of the external duties of you have to travel to your games, and you have the commandant stuff that we have to do on the weekend where it's like, grab a ruck, let's go play. It's a lot. I cannot imagine. I climbed there, but it was a club team. I can't imagine being an intercollegiate D1 athlete. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did not envy them.
Yeah, I can imagine anyways, just thinking about that, because I've had to do some courses in the military where I was extremely tired all the time, but guess what? Nobody cares, and you better get that report done. You're just like,
absolutely.
Why did I do this?
This was dumb. Yeah.
I don't even like math. Oh man. Okay. So what what are some like things that like stick out about the academy? Like what's something special that maybe a lot of people don't know about that you can actually talk about, where it's not like that hidden thing where it's like, no, we keep this a secret.
So I think there are a lot of those kind of aspects. So I think academically, each department has something that, you know, is really niche. Like I was a major, so we got to play with a lot of cool stuff.
Right.
And the academy sits on 18,000 acres of basically a nature preserve. And I remember one time we had to go. They had done some sort of thing to reintroduce a fish species into the complex that we have, into the river. And so I had to go down there I had to skip lunch because I had this doofy backpack on that had I looked like a Ghostbuster in ABU. And I had to go in the river with my partner, and I had to electrify fish to get them it just stuns them for a minute. They didn't die or anything, but he's behind me with a net trying to catch these fish that I'm stunning. And then we had to put it in a bucket and grab this thing. And I sent a text to my squad comm, and I was like, hey, I'm going to miss formation today because I'm busy. I
got the fish though. I got them.
The fish. I had that. I had, after my 21st birthday, actually, I woke up the next morning experiencing the worst hangover of my life, and I had to go to my zoology class where we were dissecting a pigeon, and I threw up in a pigeon. So,
what?
So there's just a lot of stuff that you can see. There's, I did the jump program. That was amazing. Because you basically, you train with a couple kids, 3 mornings, and then your first jump is a solo jump. That was terrifying to me. But what an experience.
My knees hurt thinking about that.
Right. Yeah. Oh, there were a couple of kids that didn't understand the concept of the flare. So they flared too early, and you just watch it. Tough. And then, a lot of other stuff. What really stands out to me is, in order to graduate, you have to pass a swimming class. And as I said before, I did not know how to swim. So they have 2 classes back to back. There's the swimming class and then the water survival class, very typically known as water haze. And the first day of swimming, they have you swim, I don't even remember how many laps, just back and forth. And I did not know what to do. So I laid on my back and just kicked and hoped for the best. And I learned how to swim. But then I got to the next class, and you have to jump off the 10 meter in order to graduate. It's some sort of warfighter mentality. If you can't do this, how are you ever, gonna, work yourself up to do anything scary? And I was landlocked for a while. I never experienced that, never jumped off of anything. And I didn't understand the concept of if you look down, you're gonna tilt. So the first time I jumped off of this 10 meter, I belly flopped and just, it was to the point where I didn't even sink. I looked up and I was on the surface, and I got out of the water after I heard everybody go, ooh. And I had a full body bruise. That was different. But I didn't look at my feet the next time, and I passed. So here I am.
Oh no, why would you do that? Rookie mistake.
You live and you learn. You live and you learn.
Oh my God, dude. It's so funny because I've done that before. I've jumped from a dive and it just went all wrong, and I end up belly flopping. And it's one of those things where you said you didn't sink. Oh, I sank. I sank on purpose because I didn't want no one looking at me. I'm just
the only thing that hurt was the pride. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pride was done.
Yep. Absolutely.
All the way at the bottom.
Yep. It hurts. But yeah, just plenty of opportunities, plenty of bad days, but plenty of good days, plenty of good experiences. I got to work, I think, 4 collective basics with the 2 summer periods, and
nice.
And being able to be, the cadre in charge of a bunch of new kids coming in who, don't know their ass from their elbows and have never been away from home and whatnot, and just being the guiding light for them is a different experience for sure. And to see them, my most recent class is ready to graduate, and those are my babies. I'm still attached to that, so that was the most rewarding part of the whole thing.
That is awesome, man. Like, hey, I know you got to be some smart. I mean, you see it all the time. Sometimes in movies, they always talk about people that go to the academies. You always see them like, ready to take these tests. It's all like hella intense. They're in their uniform, like sitting down, like.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, that's much respect to people that are that dedicated to to doing that, because I know a lot of people don't want to be in school surrounded by military all the time. I mean, obviously that's why you have so many different commissioning routes, but yeah, big props to people that do that, man. You guys are holding it down. You smart folks,
We're
are
trying our
holding it down.
best. We're suffering, but we're here.
So in the academy, you have the option to go Air Force and military and others. Did you see like any prior enlisted that did like some like transfers?
Yeah, I did actually. We had mostly went Marine Corps actually. I knew a couple of people that did the blue to green Army, and then we have a program that's called the Bulldog program, where you hop over to the Marine Corps. And I had a girl in my class, her name is Claire, and she is fantastic, and she is loving her life in the Marine Corps. So
nice.
Yeah, I think I want to say that she had like maybe a sibling that went Marine Corps, and that's what prompted her. But she is thriving, and we love to see it.
Hell yeah, we had a few. Even when I was at my when I was at Arizona State University, big shout out to y'all. Even when I was over there working, we had a few people go from Navy to Marine Corps, but we also had a few that were in the program for Marine the whole time, but ended up going Navy. And then I actually had some people that were Marines, like active duty staff and COs, that transferred over to the Navy side because they wanted to do a medical program.
Yeah, we have a lot of different avenues for medical, especially. And then Special Forces is another one too. I had a squadron commander my junior year who went Navy SEAL. It is possible. We really like making our pilots and our Special Forces people. So.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about the experience of the academy that you had, and it seems like overall you had a good experience. Good answer. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
So after the academy, and now you're commissioned, what I'm saying? Oh, got the bars, got them. So obviously you have to go to some follow-on schools. And so so for us, we typically have like TBS afterwards, which is the basic school.
Okay.
And like, what do you guys have?
We so from the academy specifically, you get your job your senior year, which is stressful for one because they already got you by that point.
Right.
But then they give you a base assignment after you put in your preferences, and they'll give you a base, but generally they'll give you a tech school base first. So my tech school base was at Vandenberg. So I knew that that's where I'd be going after graduation.
Okay.
And then tech schools can be however long they take reasonably. And then sometimes, especially for like pilot pipelines, there's a backup. So you might have a casual job somewhere else. So you might go to your tech school base and be casual, or they might send you somewhere else. And you can go and do something intermediate until you get to your tech school base.
Okay. So like, what was that experience like? Because like, I mean, so you've been around military throughout your life, and then you're around military because you went through the actual academy. And now you're walking with your head held high because you're better than everybody. No, I'm just kidding. But so now you arrive at your first initial school. So it looks like you guys don't have any like other like post officer candidate school training before going to your actual MOS school. So once you get to your MOS school, what's that experience like? Do you feel, is it still like a new type feeling? Like, oh wow, I'm just commissioned, and I'm still. Were you nervous?
Oh, I was super nervous because I had never done this on my own before. I kind of knew the terminology and the vernacular for everything, but having to be the one actually in charge of stuff and to understand, you have to do all of these things. You have to make sure that you're, everything's up to date in all of these systems that you've never heard of before. I remember like I was super nervous to like be an officer too. I had my little butter bar on. I was walking into one of the, I don't know, finance or whatever it was, and a first lieutenant like walks in front of me, and I like saluted him, and he goes, "Ew." I'm like, "Don't salute another lieutenant." I was like, "Oh, okay, well,
My bad.
oh, learn that one." But
Hey, but you know what? Good on you, though. Good on you.
you know, yeah, it was another blow to the ego, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But then, so my tech school, like Vandenberg, is beautiful, and I've never been to California before. It was a very cool experience. I had 3 roommates. Like it was basically just college extended, but I had more free will.
Right.
But then I also I'm in missiles, and most people that get missiles did not want missiles. So my tech school was kind of like, okay, we're here, guys. What are we gonna do? So, but I mean, any base, any job is better if you have good people. So I found good people. I'm thriving.
Nice. That's I would say for my so for enlisted we have recruit training.
Mm-hmm.
You go on like a few days leave, and then you go to MCT or SOI or ITB, which is Marine Combat Training and School of Infantry / Infantry Training Battalion. So it depends if you're ground side or if you're everything else essentially.
Right.
And I think that wasn't like too nerve wracking. I mean, I feel like I fit in. But I think it was like when I got to my, like what you were talking about, your school, your MOS school, I think that's where it was kind of different because there was just so many more people from all different, like, East Coast, West Coast. And then that's where you start to get a little bit of liberties, but it's still really controlled. So you have to do that. Plus you have to actually go to school and get good grades in that whilst you're so new to the military, you're jacking all of that up,
Yeah. Everything is complicated all the time.
Absolutely. And it's like, we're on a Navy base because I'm aviation. So, kind of like trying to learn the tradition of the Navy as well. Like, why do we do this? Or like, when do we do this? And it was definitely like, I don't know if I would say intimidating, but it was definitely a different experience. There was a little bit of fear in there as well, but you kind of learn to adapt. And then we have another follow-on school, which is like your specific thing that you're going to go to. So for mine, it was helicopter school. And that was a lot better because it felt more like what I was going to be doing when I got to the actual fleet. So
right.
Easy day, easy day.
Yeah,
So now you got, you're done with, so you only have one school or?
It depends on what you do. So like pilots have basically what you were talking about, where they have the undergraduate pilot stuff, and then they have the initial, the undergrad, and then whatever their extra stuff is. Like we have a lot of helicopters here, and they do the same thing where they'll go through the regular, you'll train on all of these things, and then you go down to, I think it's Maxwell, which is specifically for helicopters and like Ospreys. But my tech school was like 6 months of, here's a missile, you sit there. So it's different.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I think we should get rid of my first school, but I'm just like, I feel like a lot of it's just a waste of time. Don't nobody get mad. I'm sorry. It's just
they got to do something with you. Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you leave school, so now you're in the fleet, right? You have no other requirements prior to getting to the fleet.
Not really. No. My job specifically, we had to do a lot of clearance stuff. We had to make sure that our top secret was good to go, and then we had to get certified on the weapon system that we're using. So you have to go through, I think it's called MQT, but it's basically like, this is who you are, this is what you have to do, these are all of the things that you have to have in order to be allowed to sit and deal with the top secret material that you're dealing with downstairs. But once you finish with that and you're CMR'd and you're good on, PRP, they trust you. So you just go in and work.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And so how long have you been doing that so far? Because so for us, it's like typically after 2 years, then you get promoted to O2.
Yep.
So same thing for you guys?
It is. So I spent a good chunk of time at Vandenberg, and then I've been at Minot almost 3 years. So I have my next duty station that I'm going to go to, but I'm going to finish out my 3rd year here. So the construct that we have come up with has been a 3 and 3. So you do 3 years at one station, 3 years at another. Because our initial 3 bases are just the northern tier ones. So they kind of force us to shuffle around a little bit. Otherwise, things get stagnant and processes kind of have a tendency to go by the wayside. So it's good to shuffle and spice it up a little bit.
No, absolutely. No, I mean, that's completely right. Because I mean, listen, I don't care how much you love doing something. Like, you do the same thing long enough, it's like,
yep. Absolutely.
Get me out of here. I need help. No, that's crazy. So you say you're in North Dakota, and when we talked a little bit before, I was like, man, I don't think I've ever met anyone from the Dakotas.
No, there's not a lot of people here. They tend to, stay in their own little niche. So
is that your? Please tell me that's your normal accent.
My mom's from Minnesota, so this one's not unnatural.
Every time somebody says that, I'm like, "You're from Minnesota, aren't you?" She's like, "Yeah, I know." You're saying it's not pop, all right? It's soda. I don't care what no one says. Oh man, that is awesome. So, I know you were talking about actually. So the thing that you sent me, you said what's MSC? Because I want to make sure you sent me something.
Oh, that's a medical service corps. So basically, once you work in missiles, there's really not like a civilian equivalent unless you want to go work on missiles as like a GS job. So I basically, I was talking with my dad and I was like, hey, is there anything in healthcare that would be reasonable to study and learn now so that I could, be a useful member of society after I finish with this?
Right.
And he got his master's in healthcare administration because he's by trade a lab tech, so he just kind of took the managerial portion of that.
Right.
And so I worked on healthcare administration, which MSC is kind of the active duty equivalent to a healthcare administrator. So they work with the clinics and making sure that all of the base hospitals have the things that they need to function.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we have certain programs that kind of like help to give us credit, like civilian credit for like the MOS stuff that we actually do for like all
nice.
of our like some of our background, like for some of like so what I'm looking for. It keeps track of a lot of the qualifications and stuff that we get when we use those qualifications and job history essentially in the military to help to get us a spot for where we want to be at, help to put build our resume and to do like these interns as well. So that's absolutely awesome. And I'm glad that we do stuff like that because I'm gonna tell you right now, my MOS don't really help me out too much for when I get out because I work on weapons and stuff and I'm just like, what am I gonna do out here?
100%. Yep.
I'm gonna join SWAT, I'll
just hang out.
So I know we kind of talked about like some of your hobbies and things that you've done growing up, but like what can we expect from Hunter today? What defines you? Are you I know that you're still kind of big into jiu-jitsu. Like where have you made it so far? Are you still playing soccer? And what's a day in the life of Hunter?
So I am currently working on my second master's in microbiology. And I want to, if I can, use that for the Air Force in some capacity. I'm not really sure what yet, but I think, we can always improve the way that we interact with like environmental systems. It'd be cool to work with the Space Force, obviously, because we don't necessarily know how microbes work in space, but that would be something that I would love to do. Or if I manage to go into the healthcare administration kind of facet, I would love to work with the CDC and work with, how we work with our partners overseas and help them and provide them with structure so that they can work on their own without us there, but be that support system. I would love to track that global influence and help people out. In the meantime, I am working as a personal trainer if I'm not here. I have predominantly been working with enlisted airmen to because COVID stopped our PT test for a while. So I've been working
Okay.
to, help the total force be more fit. And then obviously with jujitsu, I'm going to continue to do that. But my specific jujitsu gym here is a We Defy Foundation gym. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's basically we kind of acknowledge that BJJ and certain martial arts is a good way for veterans, especially, to deal with mental health, traumas, PTSD, that kind of stuff. And I would love to continue working with their foundation in any capacity that I can through BJJ, because I know my husband was active duty, and he was medically retired because of anxiety and PTSD.
Right.
And he was lost for a little bit, and I led him to this gym, and he has been significantly better since. And I love seeing that for him and for anyone else who uses that as kind of a safe haven. So if I could get that word out and spread that kind of involvement in community for the veteran community specifically, I would love to.
That is awesome. See, you were talking about earlier, but I don't know what I have to offer. Look at that. That is seriously huge. I'll create like an own segment for that. And then if you can send me like some information about it, just like DM me or something, I'll put it in like the description of the video when we make this an actual YouTube video and when we're like promoting it, making clips and stuff. Because these are the things that I like to capture is, sometimes there's different portions of the interview where it comes out, but I like to emphasize, because I do believe that the majority of, veterans or active duty service members, they really do want to help. And sometimes people just don't know how they can help or how they can get help. And there's people like you that are everywhere that sometimes you just get lucky and stumble upon them and get an interview from them,
Right.
Oh,
those
that
hashtags. I'm most active on Instagram as Hunty Lana. And I am also active on Facebook. And the We Defy Foundation that I work with is Spectrum Fitness Minot. And they're fantastic with everything they do. So if you have any questions for them or want to help that specific gym, route it through me.
That's so amazing. Thank you. Honestly, you know what?
Thank you.
I think you purposely lost your voice at the end, so I didn't feel bad for sounding this scraggly. So you were trying to compete with me, but
that's it.
No, but like I said earlier, like before we even started recording, it is literally a breath of fresh air to be able to interview someone and have a conversation with someone that is genuinely like excitable and that actually wants to. I feel like you genuinely want to give information and you have so much to give. Thank you for being that type of person,
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate that you're here to listen and spread the word as well, because I'm just doing my thing here where I can, and if I don't feel useful, then what the hell am I doing? So
no, absolutely. And I did mean to ask you this, and it's not, I'm not trying to like whatever, but how are you going for your second master's? You literally look like you're 19. There's absolutely no way. You started jujitsu when you were 5 or martial arts. You had to have started college when you were 12. This is ridiculous, people. There's an uproar about to happen, and I don't like it.
I do have a baby face. I know. It's I drink water. It's fine.
That's it.
That's it. But
I'm about to go get me some Dasani right now. I swear.
Yeah. I have most of my work. If I'm downstairs, I've got a computer, and that's it. So I cranked through the first one pretty quickly because it was just, let's write papers about healthcare and public health and disparities and things like that. And then I realized that I really like microbiology, and I was like,
right.
Well, I got the time, so yeah,
we're just
trucking through. Yeah, so I can hopefully finish it before I move. So we'll see. I would like to be a doctorate at some point, so we'll see.
Hey, you know what? Goals right there, people. Goals. Oh man, that's awesome. Well, hey, I do appreciate it because, it's been about an hour since your time that I took up, but I seriously appreciate you. I know the platform appreciates you, and I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna get so much useful information from this interview. And you are always welcome. Just like I tell everybody else, always welcome back on the platform. If you have something that you're doing that you want to promote, all you got to do is message me, and I'll do everything I can to help to get that word out as well.
Well, thank you, and thank you for reaching out for me initially. I appreciate it for sure.
No, absolutely. Is there any last things you want to say to the people before we take off?
Thank you for listening to me talk about my life. I hope you got something out of it. Please, at any time, feel free to reach out to me. I am, I'm off duty right now, so I'd love to have conversations.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Hunter Pace.
Thank you.